Ballot book. So, as a party,
don't take the picture. Man, you are on the security somewhere. This morning, I just came. I come. Okay. You come to the premises. You see, the manager of the place. But you can't ask anybody, and it's not right. The approach of my colleague security officers is because
now so for penny be a kofa flyer be. Edi akoto asofo group bi so na odi two group no so na asofo no pass comment na asofo no kase enti kremuni standia mon kanchire mo masore mana mo obi anto makremuni era me se me media me wo evidence kremufu a etie me enti so when you speak like this we as of pani mem timi mo odin wa ha obu pa minti but the way you know among say to say the way abofra go down sorry kakraka no. So why do you create this unity papa sofo who influence ukroma pa but a ferry say o can say 7 page no so Sadi na we so one ferry na wo kan ye na fa sofo no bia ye ene kremoni de sadi na papa sofo ye no me mo wudin o ba me ade na wo kan ye no e me ferry ma papa sofo discrimination when we are preaching Christ we don't discriminate. Eti wo de wo betimi atum krofo for ba statement na wo make ye no papa sofo no flyer no ha to una ade ba 2 page no so what the two so into feel ye na e wo so nyina na obia na e believe in your philosophy and your ideology any dia wo akoma kire wo it is a childish decision I am kwada asem papa sofo me you are no ha ba me mo wudin ba minim se wo na wo ye wo na ade ba 2 page no so. And then you allow people to condemn and to you can influence people in that negative manner. Papa Sofo, Srewa, Ebaya and Kayi could have free so. Nezo so I say one hard na kwetri.
That was it. He's completely outraged.
Completely, and he's justifiably outraged because at the end of the day, we are a country of Ghanaians first. And we've had 67 years of independence. And we've had leaders upon leaders upon leaders, and all of them have been Christians. I don't think I've heard any Muslim complain about that. They accept them, support them, and serve them. Most of my PAs are Muslim, my best friends are Muslims, whether it's just by accident, but they call me a Wallaman because, those are my best friends. You understand? So I don't understand this. I think it's a level of desperation. Of course, it's only natural because Dr. Bawumia, the MPP, has never elected a Northern Muslim as a top ticket. And the NDC has been using this weapon, ethnocentric weapon, for years. I remember very much in 1992, going into the Zongos, rehashing the Buzia aliens compliance.
Yeah, go to your country.
That's right.
If they win, they'll sack you to go to your country.
Those were the words. And so the Zongos, some of them were no-go areas. So naturally, they gyrated towards the NDC. And there's been some very dirty ethnocentric politics in this Fourth Republic. Things are improving. And Bawumia won fair and square.
No, President Mahama himself said, please look for that video, that it will never happen. If Bawumia for some day thinks that he can be the leader, it won't happen.
That is the kind of level that they descended into. Because he came out openly and said that.
Yeah, President Mahama said
he wants to see when the time comes, his younger brother, whether the MPP will give him the chance. That's how much stereotyping they have been.
Let's listen to President Mahama. What did he say? Play the President Mahama tape again.
Sometimes I feel sad when I see some of our northern brothers running around and also doing this. They will use you and dump you. I want to live to see the day you let anything happen today. and let our brother Bawumia say he's standing for president in NPP, they will never give it to him. I can assure you. When the misfortune hit us, and our father, Professor Mills, passed away, the Constitution said that the Vice President should take over. I did. But then we're close to an election. If it was another party, they would have insisted that there should be a Congress. And in that Congress, I would have been contested. And they would have given the leadership to somebody else. But when it happened, the NDC's National Executive Committee called a meeting and said, no, there will be no Congress. We are passing a resolution. John Mahama is the Vice President. We are going to support him to lead us into this election. And we went into the election, and God gave victory to us. And so I'm proud to be a member of the NDC, because I know it is a party that opens opportunities for all people of Ghana, irrespective of your ethnic affiliation or your religious affiliation.
That's coming from the top.
It's shocking. I mean, I know him personally, and I was shocked at this kind of statement coming from someone who had then risen to become president. It's so ethnocentric to try and pigeonhole the NPP as if we hate Northerners, that we will never vote for a Northern because they come from the North. It shouldn't be coming from John Mahama. It shouldn't. It shouldn't come from any politician. You know, I think that politics based on ethnicity is not a good thing, you know. And I mean,
But
the
now
egg is on his face now.
It's been since November last year.
Yes, on his face now. And I'm happy you've played this for the Ghanaians to know, because he's the one who said the Ghanaians have short memories.
Yes.
Maybe people have forgotten that he said this. And at the end of the day, the party voted 61%, the highest for any first-timer. Dubois didn't get 61 at his first attempt. J. Kufuor didn't get 61 at his first attempt. Certainly not Akufo-Addo on his first attempt.
Oh, I see. I never thought about that.
So this was a historic victory.
Oh, the first attempt. This is the largest vote for an individual coming to the contest for the first time.
First attempt, yes.
I see.
So the party has shown
60%.
61%. And before that, almost 70% with the super delegates. 10 of us.
Yes.
69+%.
On the super delegates.
On the super delegates. So the top of the party supported him almost totally. So it shows our party, we are a truly national party, and that we reward you whether you are an Ewe or you are an Nzima. It's because we've seen his appetite for work, we believe in what he stands for, and we believe in his capacity to lead, his clarity of thought, and his deep understanding of where the world is going, and the initiatives that he has led over the last 8 years.
I said Nkatia is changing the narrative. And Kurisa, please find me his tape. He says, he goes to Ashanti and tells them that Akufo-Addo doesn't want Ashantis to have the leadership of the party. So when he is going, instead of leaving it for Kwabene Japan, Adai Nimo, Alan Chemati, he gave it to Bawumia and Nonna. And Ashantis, you are sitting down. They've taken your party from this Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, the chairman of the NDC.
Because, you see, he's continuing in the vein of John Mahama. Very tribal, ethnocentric statement. It shouldn't be coming from chairmen of parties or presidents of our country.
No, you look at the history.
I mean, go and tell them something.
A.A. Munufie was their chairman.
Yes.
Isifu Ali, Alhaji Mama Idris, Obeda Sama,
Decent-minded
decent
people. So I don't understand the desperation that on the altar of political expediency, you can descend so low and publicly say such a thing.
Comparing this today's concluding rally to what you know, what gives you hope?
The energy that he's brought back to the party. I mean, of course, when you've been in office for 8 years, there's always some level of apathy. But again, from your own interview with Dr. Bawumia, he was someone who did not insert himself into the primaries. Anytime MPP has good parliamentary primaries, we are likely to win.
What is good parliamentary primaries?
When the friction is reduced, when there's not much interference by the top tickets, you know, because the party...
When they don't insist on this candidate must be here, that candidate must be here.
That's right.
Or it was left.
I think he did that very well. And he said it. I mean, it was a very tough presidential primary, and we were all part of it. after that, he rallied everybody together. And he did so very well, visiting each and every one of us.
Did he come to your house?
Yes, yes. I mean, he spoke to me. We discussed a lot. He went to everybody. It's completely the reverse of what we are used to, because normally we, the defeated ones, we line up and go to, say, Nima or Professor Dubois' house to go and congratulate him. But Bawumia, very humble, good interpersonal skills. He was able to win over much everybody. So all the 9 candidates playing different roles to support his campaign. And so he's one leader who has been able to weld this party together. He's like a glue for the New Patriotic Party, and it's good for us. Of course, there were a few touchy areas in the parliamentary primaries. You have to expect that. That's why 1 or 2 independents here and there. But by and large, it went off very well. And when it happens that way, we are confident that we are winning the parliamentary majority. But I marvel at the way he's run the campaign, the energy he's given to it, the vitality, the strength, and then the style, the detail, what he called retail campaigning. As you said, meeting the youth when the youth connects, going to the markets, bumping into people's homes, surprising them. And if you're in a village and the vice president runs into you and has a discussion with you, that must be a wonderful experience. And you see all those pictures with those school children, he's endeared himself to the Ghanaian people. And it comes naturally. I mean, you look at his background, very empathetic character. He's someone who understands people, who cares for people, who shares people and loves people. And that is him. And that's what attracts me to him so much, because our values really align. He's a very selfless man, not given to materialism, and he's focused on what he's doing. Very determined person, because we were doing 3 constituencies, sometimes 4 constituencies in a day. And he's speaking about 5-6 times. Sometimes his voice is gone. His vocal cords are strained, but by the next morning...
Why did you guys sleep? When you made some of your rallies at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., what happens?
You sleep where you have to sleep. I mean, you plan.
So you know that you'll be here at 1 a.m. Sometimes you don't know. You just...
No, the timing you will never know. But most of the time when you're doing constituency campaigns, you end up very late because people don't get energized in the morning.
Yeah.
So you get off around 10:30, 11. By the time you finish one constituency, it's about 2. You go to the second constituency.
You're already at 7.
At 7. And so sometimes you are starting a constituency at 9. Yeah, so it happens that way. But it's always better in the night. It's cooler.
You have the attention.
You have the attention of the people. You have more participation because the sun is not really beating them up, But he went about it in such a marvelous way. And he delivered a message that touched various segments of society. So wherever he met people, whether they were farmers or Okada riders or nurses or teachers, chiefs, Muslims, Christians, everybody, he had something in there for them. All segments of society. And I think that has worked very well. The middle class believe that. They can look at his message, sometimes analyze it, agree with some, disagree with some, but with his opponent, you can hardly identify any strand of messaging.
He has 24-hour economy.
Well, which he couldn't explain to the BBC yesterday.
He couldn't? I've heard about the BBC. What did he say?
You haven't seen the interview?
I've heard about it.
But anyway, I think
But he was able to explain to a radio station.
There's a big sea of difference in the way Bawumia has run his campaign. And as they say now, the 3 C's. He is complaining.
Akufo-Addo is commissioning.
It's commissioning.
Bawumia is campaigning.
It's campaigning. So everybody's seeing the hard. I mean, I believe the work ethic. He's an example for Ghanaians, for everyone. I think every young person should look at Dr. Bawumia's lifestyle. The work ethic, is important. And that's what is going to drive this country to a new level. He's determined to work. He's a hard worker. He doesn't get tired and he's determined. And I think it energizes the party people. And now that we have our party base enthusiastic and fired up, most likely we win because we have the numbers.
That's coming to that question. And the polls that came here last Tuesday, he was telling me that when they conducted polls in November in Ashanti region,
That's right.
They found that only 50% of Ashanti people wanted to turn up to vote.
Yes.
The last polls they did is crossing 70.
That's right.
And it's attributable to the work that people like you went back to Ashanti to do.
Yeah,
What is the latest? You are coming from there. When were you there?
You know, I spent the last week there to also
Yes.
just...
So what is the latest? How are the Ashanti people responding?
I think they are responding well to the messaging, of course. You see, it's only natural that because they give us the biggest vote, some people think that
You demand
they
a
should
lot.
have a commensurate
Development.
That's right.
Quotient.
But when you're running a country, then Dr. Bawumia always talks about broad-based development, equitable development. I quite remember with President Kufuor when he was doing the whole roads, and I was taking a look at him and say, "You're not getting much of a vote. We need to go and do the roads where," he says, "Kwabena, you are a president, you are a father for all. You are a father for all parts of our country." And even when I told Dr. Bawumia that, look, I think 111 hospitals was spreading ourselves too thin.
The Agenda 111.
That's right. He believes, and I believe, that this country, development should be equitable.
Across.
You go to parts of the country, Paul, and you see a Ghanaian, your brother, and some of them don't even have a
But
share.
a lot of that has changed, you know.
Yes, yes. So
Kenya say is piping. They don't have full places. They have mobile money interoperability.
Yeah.
They don't need to come to Accra. There's a lot of development that's gone across the country. Very different from, if you look at your campaign of 96, the things you saw, you go back to some of those places since 2017.
I mean, quite recently, when we were traveling from Ketekrachi, and I know Ketekrachi even in 2020.
Yes.
Yes. And now the town roads are nicely paved. You drive through Borai, Chindiri, ride through Pandai, Wulensi, Bimbila, Chamba. It's all tarred, beautiful road. And I quite remember in 1998 traveling with then candidate Akufo-Addo. It was hell from
those
Salaga to
places.
Pao. It was hell, you know. And some of the places you get there and the car gets there, everybody runs away because they haven't seen a car for maybe a year or so. So, and these are all Ghanaians, our brothers and sisters. So I
a
think
lot
it's
has
important,
changed.
the policy of ensuring that the distribution of the national cake is equitable is a good policy. And he believes in having development where no one is left out.